All right, today while I'm building, I got some parts here, put together this big 230% play set for hedgehogs and hamsters and stuff. I kind of want to, let's talk about something that I've been hearing a lot recently. Everyone talking about 3D printed slop. I've been getting this, I got this comment the other night. Someone commented on one of my videos showing what I'm making at one of the events that I was at, and they said, stop making 3D printed slop. So here's my stance and what I think about 3D printed slop. Is there a lot of 3D printed garbage out there these days? Yeah, absolutely. Is there a difference, or what do I call 3D printed slop? So I consider slop more of a overproduced, under quality item, actually. So something like crystal dragons, which I do make, but something like crystal dragons that you might see a million of, you might see a table full of them somewhere. Everyone's just got one single color, printed 500 of them, all one color, or they've got two different colors, or they're using the silks that are the dual color silks, and they just have 500 of them sitting on one table. Okay, I might call that slop. But one thing that I don't call slop is a model or something that's made by a designer, someone talented like Tracy from Cinderwing, who makes these crystal dragons. This is the dragon I'm talking about. A lot of people will see these. I make mine a little bit different than everyone. You see how they're all striped. I do the faces with colored eyes. I got the teeth are different, and then the bodies of them are all striped. I do them a little bit different just to make it different for people so they don't see the same thing all the time. But again, what I'm considering 3D printed slop is going to be something that's garbage quality. And you hear me talk about that all the time. And that's the biggest thing is I love 3D printing. I love 3D printed stuff. I love pretty much everything about this whole industry. And there's a lot of people who just are like, I just bought this printer and I want to make extra money, so I'm going to buy a printer and I'm just going to start printing stuff. And it's really, there's a lot more to it than that. There's different materials. There's different, yes, PLA is one of the most common materials that you print with, and what a lot of this articulated stuff that I make a lot of is made from. And but there's a lot of differences in PLAs, and you might be looking up different TDS sheets, which are like the data sheets that come with different materials. I'm always looking up tensile strengths. I'm looking up the modulus of elasticity of the different plastics, and there's a lot of differences in this, and I'll get into that in some other videos. But if you're just ordering the cheapest material that you can find on Amazon or wherever, and you're like, I got this for $5 a spool, it's beautiful. It's like, yeah, it might look nice, but it's probably trash. It's probably garbage, and it's probably not helping anything. But if you don't know any better, you don't know any better. And all we can do is try to educate people on that. One thing, hold on. I gotta find where I set down the water bottle that goes with this. Where did you go? Ah, there it is. But again, 3D printed slop. You hear it all the time. But I think a lot of it just comes down to, are you just making mass-produced things? Do you have anything at your booth that's original? Do you have anything that's different? What do you offer that's not slop? And that's kind of where I aim my business more at is that I want to be more than just a 3D printed part company. I want to be more than just, I make 3D stuff, or I just hit a button and I go. So that's why I do the research on the materials. I do the research on what's popular at the moment. I do the research on I keep a lot of market data to see what it is that's selling, what's not selling. And I take a lot of pride in the materials I'm using. You'll notice that, I could be using any glue. I use this stuff called 3D Gloop to put this stuff together. This 3D Gloop is specially formulated from a company that this is what they make. They make glue that's made for 3D printing. I could just be using cheap super glue, but this stuff bonds to the material. It creates a much stronger bond, and it's a lot. This little bottle here, this is $35 for this bottle. It's 120 milliliters of Gloop. It's got a 3-month shelf life on it, so you can't just keep it forever. And I go through this stuff like crazy. Here's another bottle that's empty that I emptied just the other day, which I actually have to get rid of there. But it's the quality of the stuff you're using. I'm not making slop. I'm making high quality products. Even this giant hamster set that I'm making, that's going to have these little hamsters here. These were designed by a guy, goes by the name 3D Gob. Very, very cool, really good models. The articulation works really well on them. I haven't had any issues with his models. So I support people like this that are not, even though a lot of people do print his stuff because it's popular, it's like a lot of people are printing his stuff, but if you see 2 people who are selling the same thing, this is going to be the cheesiest thing I say in a long time, but I say this a lot, and it sounds very stupid. I don't even know if I want to say it, but 3D printing, it's a lot like being a decent human. On the outside, you can look however you want to look, but it's what's inside that matters. Because there's different settings, there's different, like what was your makeup? How are you made the way that you are? And it's just like, it's so corny, but it's actually so true that it's what's inside. Like, I can take this stuff and I'll throw stuff on the floor. I throw stuff everywhere. It's one of my favorite things to do is to show people that I use strong materials. I use strong settings. I test everything that I make to make sure that it's strong. It's not indestructible, but everything is made strong and made to be handled. So back to the slop. You can make as much slop as you want. Anyone can make slop. I don't think I'm making slop, and I have a lot of customers who buy stuff from me, who bought stuff from me over the past, about 5 years or so that I've been doing this. And there's people who, they still have items that they bought from me two, 3 years ago that their kids still play with. And it's like, I love hearing those stories. I like hearing that from the people. I like hearing from everyone that they were able to get that item and then have it bring them joy for a few years. And I don't consider that slop. If you can take something, have it for a few years, have it bring you some joy. It only costs you a few bucks. And in the end, don't give in to all this internet mumbo jumbo of 3D printed stuff is garbage, it's trash. 3D printing is just another manufacturing process. You don't go out and say, oh, I love the injection molded Legos. I love the injection molded Bluey toy. No, people don't say that. But they say, oh, I like that 3D printed toy. It's like, I'm not sure when talking about the manufacturing process of how things were made is what changes the category of what it's made. I could be wrong on that, but I know there are, I guess I am kind of wrong, because there are toys and stuff that are like the way that they are made, it does matter, but it's not on every single thing that you're buying like it is with 3D printed. People walk by my booth, they're like, oh look, it's the 3D prints. We have to figure out a way to change that so that it's not just look at the 3D prints. It's, hey, look at that stuff. Don't worry about how it's made. Don't worry about the garbage stuff that the person around you is selling, or don't worry about the stuff you see from other people. Inspect the stuff that you're buying, inspect the stuff that you're selling. Just make sure you're selling an all-around good product, please. That's all I ask. I just want people to sell nice stuff. I want to sell nice stuff. I want people to make nice stuff. And I want this like bad rap of 3D printed stuff to die out, really. I want people to start enjoying 3D printing again, because when I started doing this, you know, people enjoyed what I was doing. They were very interested, and now it's just turning into a, oh, look at that, or oh, another one of these, another one of those. It's more than that, and it should be more than that. And you should take pride in what you're selling. You should take pride in what you're making. If you're making stuff, you should make it where you could feel comfortable giving it to your own kid if you wanted, if you had a kid, if you have a kid, whatever you have. And I do that with all mine. My son loves the stuff that I make. He has fun with all the stuff that I make. And let's just make 3D printing cool again. Here's this giant hamster and guinea pig set that I printed up from 3D Gob, and have a good one.